can start? Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming today. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Francisco Rosalén. I'm Business Development Manager from Nanobytes, and I am going to talk about an aeronautic company success story with Odoo and how a challenging project become a remarkable success story. All right, so here you have the topics that we will be addressing today in order to give you an insight into the solution from knowing Nanobytes to the feedback that the client gave us. You can scan the QR to make any question that you want. We will address every aspect that made the solution an actual success. First of all, knowing Nanobytes. How we are? Well, for any company to be successful in the implementation of an ERP, the first decision that they have to make is to choose the correct partner. In this case, Nanobytes. We are partner number 1 in Spain and top 5 worldwide. This is in both number of implementation and number of users using Odoo. So far, we have implemented 200 projects, more than 200 projects, 150 in Odoo Enterprise. But how we managed to do so? What were the steps that we followed? A long time, we assembled a team of professionals that came with a different background. We have in the engineers, we have accounting people. This is very important because it made Nanobytes a multidisciplinary company. From finance to manufacturing to, without forgetting, important areas like logistics or marketing. We actually were born as a pure IT company in 2005. It was 20 years ago. In fact, this DNA allowed us to build one of the fastest hosting solutions in the market, odohosting.io, which you can check after the speech in our booth, and our colleagues will be showing it to us. We count with several certifications. Like the 9001 and 40001 that also we are members of RIPE ACC to provide the best services toward our customers. We talk a bit about Nanobytes. Let's talk about our client, S4A. So now that we have talked about Nanobytes, it's time to know about S4A. S4A is an aerospace multinational company which counts with extremely demanding certification on design organization approval by the European Union. This company started their operation in 2007, and they have developed and certified over 1,000 engineering projects worldwide. More than 4,000 aircraft fly with their technology. Probably you have come here in one of their projects. It's a very important company in Spain. As such, the requirements and their milestones, they were quite important. They have to be mandatory fulfilled. Fortunately for the company, they have made a previous work studying their own workflows and requirements because they have to fulfill all of the mandatory regulations in their industry. And talking about requirements, we are talking about these requirements. Let's have a look at them. For instance, as expected, it was the vital importance to have real-time access to relevant data. In the aerospace industry, it's very important to have every node, every bolt with a responsible, with one person who can be addressable to us about this piece. So our work is more to show all the potential that the tool, so it grows at the same pace as the requirements of the company. Because those requirements were written in stone. They are following strict requirements by their certification. They have to comply with them. And they also have to have mandatory requirements about the traceability and how every step of the project has to be managed. After thinking about this key aspect, the access to the relevant data and getting traceability was of the utmost importance. Having So having a single representative in that company that we can ask about that requirement was one of the most important things of the project. It was a person that know every crane, every hook of the company, and he translated us all of the information that we as implementers we need. As anyone who has worked as a consultant role, I'm pretty sure that you have lost uncountable hours trying to convince your customer about some topic, about some option, about some decision. So it was very important to have that key user in your team. You have to convince the key user. The work of the key user is to convince to argue with the rest of the company. Is probably one of the most important decision or first step that you have to get in your project. Also, at the beginning of the talk, we have a talk about how these decisions were made. One of the first decisions that we took were that we are using Odoo Studio. It's an implementation that doesn't have any custom code. They only have implementation with Odoo Studio. This is not any Odoo Studio implementation. It's a very careful made, very personalized, and we were very careful. The connection that exists inside the Odoo, you need to use fields that they already are in the system. In this area, it was very important to provide our customer with functional and technical training, because it was a project from the start that was thinking about, but for the company that can, with their own people, with their own staff, to work with Odoo, make it evolve. We have talked about how the decision of the using Studio in order to make change was taken at first. Now it's time to explain why we made the decision like this. We all know the Studio app, but no, so many of you know for real how far we can actually reach with it. Anyway, the first reason for this was to get a very agile and quick adaptation. You know all the good features of Odoo Studio, I'm sure about that. The second one was the fact that avoiding custom code allowed us to overcome the restriction about custom code with the compliance with ISO and EASA, the requirements of the aeronautics industry that we have talked before. In addition, being a visual programming tool, it was quite easy for the customer to understand the change as modification made in the program in real time. This for people that a specialty isn't necessarily related to IT or coding, provided us with a visual input of the change being made in real time. Of course, it was mandatory to use some test databases to do raw prototyping without putting in jeopardy the areas of the implementation that we were already in production. It was a very big company, so there were some areas of the program that were in production before, and others we were prototyping them. So we have some staging platforms. So we have staging platforms in which do test. Neither we can forget how easy it is to upgrade version between Odoo. This is a tool that is constructed from the beginning to lack custom code. Why is this? Very easy. It's very easy reason. You can update your Odoo to the latest version with ease, without cost. And this is a tool that they are going to be using years, if not decades. They will have all the security patches. They will have the mentioned before updates. It was crucial. In fact, the original deployment, the first prototypes were done in version 13. But it was later migrated to version 15, and now, probably in a few months, they are going to migrate to 17. Why it is possible? Because we didn't use custom code. We have talked about why was done, and now we are going to move on to what was done. As you might have guessed, the particular needs of the aerospace industry needed a very customized platform. In numbers, it was more than 160 models, 2,200 extra fields, 610 extra views, more than 70 automated actions, and 170 custom access rules, again, regulations. And in all, despite not having any custom code, the final result was a severe deviation from a standard implementation. It was without custom code, but it is very different from a stock Odoo. In all, it was a success story. All of the decisions and the working with the client led us to a success story. The client got a relatively low implementation cost, fast implementation pace, and he was given the possibility of migrating between versions at no extra cost, of course. It's a work of our partners of Odoo. As any successful implementation, the client was provided, of course, with enough training of the use of the solution. I'm going to spend some time giving you time to make any question that you have about the platform. So if you want to scan the QR code, you can do any question that you want.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really good presentation. It's a very special customer that we have in Spain as well. And we have many questions here in the pad, so please, everyone that's joining us and also online can send some questions here to Paco. So the first question, Odoo Studio is very important in this project, right?
Exactly.
In Nanobytes, do you have a specific training to the colleagues to work with Studio?
Exactly. We teach all of consultants to use first Studio and last custom code for all the reasons that we explained before, because custom code is like a backpack. You have to carry it all times. If you free your customer for this backpack, I assure you that he will be grateful in the long time. You only have to do teaching work with the client. You maybe lose a bit of flexibility, but you will gain upgradability, security, and you will lessen your implementation costs. It's a win-win. We implement faster, and the client gets a powerful tool, but without the cons of a custom, to upgrading every year or every 2 years custom code.
It's true, that's very important points as well to consider in this kind of project as well.
Exactly.
And Paco, this is a big customer, important company, and they manage a lot of data as well.
Yeah, sure.
Regarding performance, how did you consider the performance in this case, specifically due to the implementation using Studio?
Okay, about the using Studio, it was very important that our team is very skilled about using Studio. Okay, we don't actually we don't do any test using Studio prototyping in the functional part of the program. As we said before, we use a test platform to prove these changes, to teach our customers in the platform, and later when they are tested, we use Studio to implement these changes, so the code behind the change made in Odoo were quite clean. So the performance of the platform, also we help with the pure IT, because we have a dedicated IT team that made improvements in their servers to make the platform as fast as possible. Of course, Odoo is also a very fast platform, so it helped us ensure.
It's true, wow, Odoo is a great...
Especially after version 16, I was impressed about how fast it was.
And now with the 17, even faster, right?
Yeah, I tried it last night for first time.
Everyone's invited as well to test version 17. And also about version 17, are you planning to upgrade? this customer to version 17?
Probably we talk about the client to upgrade the version every 2 years. So probably this year we are going to upgrade to the version 17. We first in Nanobytes like to test the tool before giving the customer the suggestion to upgrade between versions. But first, our team, especially our dedicated IT team or programmers, that some of them are here in this room, they are going to spend some time playing with the tool, looking for the nooks and crannies of the platform.
And Paco, this is also for this customer, but many others that are following us today, probably many people that are using Odoo in other versions, they are considering as well the evolution. Nanobytes has more than 10 years working with Odoo. What is the recommendation that you give to the companies that they want to use the latest version, in the case of version 17, in their upgrade when considered they are using older versions of Odoo?
Okay, for all of these people that they are in a version 12 or 13, is very typical case, I recommend you, the first is to hire a great partner, for example, Nanobytes. The second one is to know that you have to do this change, is to try to remove as much custom code as you want, because in version 12 and 13, there is some things that they cannot be done in Studio, but in version 16, I am sure that in 17 too, there is a lot of things that we can do with Studio without custom code. So the best practice I recommend you is to remove all the custom code that you have. Also, there is always some bit of custom code that cannot be removed. It's a fact, actually. I recommend you that you select a partner that have experience with older version, because there is a lot of new partners that have a lot of experience with 14, 15, 16, whatever, but not so much that they have experience from version 8 to version 17. There is not many of them.
That's great. It's true. That's very important to have this experience with Odoo. Thank you very much, Paco. And for everyone that's interested to know more about this project and many others, you can contact Paco, all the team of Nanobytes, and also us directly from Odoo to support in your Odoo experience. Thank you very much for following us, and let's keep going in the Odoo experience for the next talk. Thank you, Paco.
Thank you to the Odoo team to give me the opportunity.